Great, okay. So, dears, today we are going to have our grammar explanation and we are going to be talking about, this is going to be like a review because in the first week, the first part of the term, we talk about past simple. I know that you remember that. On the second part, we talk about present perfect, that is the topic of the previous week. Today, what we are going to do is that we are going to begin checking the differences and the different uses and the different moments where you have to use present simple or past simple or present perfect. Okay? That's basically what we are going to do. In order to do it, guys, I am going to show you once again the uses of each thing, and then we are going to make the comparison. Okay? For the ones who are at home, if you have questions at any time, please open your microphone and let me know. Okay? Because I won't be able, not in this computer. In this computer, I won't be able to see the screen. So if you have questions, just say, teacher, I have a question, and I will answer. Thank you. You just raise your hand. Let's begin, guys. We are going to begin with present perfect. What do you remember of that? Take a look of your notes. Tell me what is that. Tell me, baby.
You have to use the have.
Okay, you have an auxiliary verb, a helping verb.
And also past participle verbs.
Perfect. So you have helping verbs. Have or has, taking into account the subject, don't forget that. And you have your past participle form of the verbs. It is necessary to memorize the participles. Acuérdense de los participios, mis amores. Si no se los aprenden, grábenlos. Hay ejercicios. Okay? So, when do you use have? When do you use has?
Has for CP and have for all the
other one. Okay, perfect. What do you remember of the uses? Do you remember something of the uses of present perfect? When do we use it? Tell me.
It's to talk about experiences.
Okay, the first one of the uses is to talk about experiences. What else?
Talk about action of
Okay, when you don't have a specific time, when you have like actions, but those actions are not in a specific time, that's when you use present perfect. Something else?
Past simple when the action is already finished.
But not yet with past simple. Let's start first in present perfect.
Okay.
But yes, it's different. Don't worry, it's different because usually in present perfect you have an action, tienes una acción, pero es una acción que puede que no haya terminado. Digamos, sucedió muchas veces en el pasado, pero puede seguir sucediendo en el futuro o en el presente. Entonces, yo he visto esta película 3 veces. ¿Sí ven? Es una acción que ya se acabó porque ya la viste, pero no implica que no vas a ver la película otra vez. So, different uses. Let's take a look once again to this. So, Miguel, can you please help me reading this first part?
We use the present perfect to say that at an
Unspecified.
specified time because except time is not important.
It's not important as you were saying. So, look at this. We can use the present perfect with specific expressions such as ever, never, once, many times, several times, before, already. Yeah, do you remember that? The ones that we work together or the ones that we usually use are never, ever, which other? ¿De cuáles no se acuerdan? Ever, never, yes, what else?
Always.
Just, and already. Those are the ones that we use, and just. We can use just. I have just arrived. I have already done this. I haven't finished yet. Okay? I have never eaten hamburger. Okay? So you can use it with those words. Can you see? Did you remember that? Yes. Questions up to this point? Something with those words that you don't remember? Perfect. Preguntas sobre esas palabras que no sepan cómo usarlas, creo que me perdí, creo que no sé nada de eso. Don't worry, I am going to stop here. What about home? What about the ones who are at home? Do you remember all of this or do you have questions up to this point? Well, I guess that they have no questions. So don't forget, you can use it specific, again, the main use is with on a specific time. El uso más grande es con tiempos que no son específicos. Let's continue. Look at this one. This is something that you cannot do. Take some notes of these uses. Tomen nota de estas palabras. Pueden usarlo con expresiones que no son específicas como ever, never, once, many times. Expresiones que les dicen que esto no es específico, que no les determina algo específico, un tiempo específico. But guys, it is not possible to use present perfect with these kind of expressions. For example, take a look at this one. You cannot use it with a specific time, like yesterday, a year ago. O sea, ustedes pueden decir como, I have eaten hamburger yesterday. Yo he comido hamburguesa ayer. It is not possible. It is not logical because present perfect is to talk about times that are not specific. So, no with expressions like yesterday, a year ago, last week, when I was a child. Todas esas expresiones que están viendo ahí son para qué tiempo verbal.
Pasado.
Pasado simple, ajá. Pasado simple, porque si tú dices, no, yesterday, that's past, that finished action, that's it. When I was a child, are you still a child? No, you are a teenager now. So, finish at time. Not present perfect with these words. Questions up to this point, ladies? No? Great. Did you take notes? Great. Yeah? Okay. So we are going to continue now. No. If you need more time, tell me. Okay, don't worry. So you cannot use it with these words. Let's check once again the structure. The structure is important. I am going to show you the structure once again. If you didn't take notes the first time that I explained present perfect, please take notes now. Si no tomaste notas cuando expliqué la primera vez, háganlo ahorita. Está como más separadito. So look at this. In the positive form, guys, you are going to use it with the subject. You are going to use has or have by taking into account the subject. You are going to use the past participle form of the verb, and you are going to use your object or your complement. So, we have two different, we have like two categories of verbs in English. Who can tell me which are those two categories?
Irregular verbs and regular verbs.
That's it. So we have regular and irregular. What happened with regular verbs? Don't forget, that's super easy. You just have to add ed at the end. Con los verbos regulares simplemente le ponemos ed al final, cada para de contar, super fácil, no hay crisis. But what happened with the irregular verbs? You have to memorize it. Because the structure is going to change, like, completely. You are going to have a different structure no matter what. Algunas, por ejemplo, como cut, es igual, cut. En pasado, participio, presente, como sea, es cut. Pero hay otros, como por ejemplo, write. What is the past form of write? Wrote. And what about the participle form? Written. So can you see? It's something that you have to memorize. In affirmative or in positive, you just have to put your subject, your auxiliary verb, your past participle, and your complement. So who can give me an example in positive, in affirmative? Who can make a sentence by using present perfect in affirmative? I need you to help me with this. Go ahead.
I have played football for 3 years.
Okay, I have played football for 3 years. Okay, I have played football for 3 years. Perfect. You have been playing, but you don't know how many times are you going to play. ¿Sabes cuánto vas a seguir jugando? Now, we have the negative structure. What happens with negative? When you have negative, the only thing that you have to do is to put your auxiliary verb, has or have, in negative. You just have to put no. Te ponen un no. On hasn't, haven't. Acuérdense que hay formas contraídas. Puede ser have not or haven't, or hasn't or has not. ¿Ok? Y acá, mis amores, no va a cambiar el verbo, va a seguir estando en participio pasado. El hecho de tener este verbo auxiliar no implica que van a cambiar verbos acá. Siempre va a ser en participio pasado, all the time. So, you have your subject, your auxiliary verb in negative, your past participle, and then you have your complement. Who can give me an example? Let's try to make a sentence. Tell me.
They haven't spoken in 3 years.
Okay, they haven't spoken in 3 years. Ellos no han hablado en 3 años. No sabemos si va a ser más tiempo. No sabemos si nunca más van a hablar. We have no idea. So they haven't spoken in 3 years. And finally, with questions, the only thing that you have to do is switch. Le hacen un switch. Entonces, si tienes acá sujeto auxiliar y le haces un switch, te queda auxiliar sujeto. Eso es lo que tienen que hacer. Si no saben cómo hacer preguntas en algún momento, mírense la mano y pongan, miren el orden de la oración. Bueno, en una oración afirmativa, simplemente pongo sujeto y esta cosa, digamos en este caso. ¿Qué pones en una oración afirmativa? No, porque pongo el sujeto y luego el auxiliar. Si vas a hacer preguntas, giras la manita y ya sabes que va a ir primero el auxiliar y después vas a poner el sujeto. ¿Ok? So, easy peasy. Has or have, the subject. And once again, the past participle, the object, and this is super important, guys. What is the name of this?
Question mark.
Question mark. If you don't put your question mark, that is not a question. Si no lo ponen, puede estar la estructura perfecta, linda, hermosa, maravillosa. Pero si no lo ponen, es como si no hicieran una pregunta. Okay? So, question mark. Someone different. Let's start with someone in the virtuality. Fabian, can you please give me an example of a question in present perfect? No, maybe not. Fabian, are you there?
Me?
Yes, you. Attach.
No, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. Give me an example of a sentence in present perfect, a question, an interrogative sentence.
Okay, starting with
Can you please repeat? I wasn't able to hear you in a good way.
okay, we have to start with have now. So, to,
A question.
no sé qué- I don't know what to ask.
Okay, baby. So you are going to, don't forget, the first thing that you are going to put is your auxiliary verb, has or have. Then the subject, the past participle, and the object. Make a question in present perfect. So I can give you an example. Have you ever watched a movie? So now, I want you to give me a different example of a question in present perfect.
Have you have you done the homework?
So is your question, have you done the homework? Is that one?
Sí.
Yes?
Yes. Have you done the homework?
Have you done the homework? So don't forget, auxiliary, subject, participle, and so on. Okay? Questions up to this point, babies? Questions up to 4 or something like that? It's clear. Right. Let's continue. So here we have some examples by taking into account the subject and the auxiliary verb. So with I, you, with a, don't forget that you have to use have. In positive, you can say, I have spoken. Look at this. In negative, I have not spoken or I haven't spoken. Interrogative, have I spoken? I mean, it is not logical. You should know if you spoken. So have I spoken? What about this part? Don't forget that with he, she, it, the freaky ones, the different ones, third person of English, you are going to use has. So here we go, in affirmative. He has spoken. He has not spoken or he hasn't spoken. And finally, has he spoken? So it is not hard, just stretch. Questions about it? Super short? Okay, did you take notes or do you need more time to take notes?
I need more time.
So let's stop for some seconds when you take notes. Please, the ones who are at home, take notes. Los que están en casa, por favor, tomando notas. So go ahead. Just let me know as soon as you're ready. ready? Okay. Okay, go ahead, take notes, don't forget it. Okay, we are going to continue. Now, my dears, as I was telling you, for regular verbs, you just have to add ed. So here you have some examples. Look at this chart. If I say I have a list of regular verbs, this is a list of the verbs that you usually use. If you want, they cannot take notes of this list, because in that way you are going to know that every single time that you see these verbs, those verbs are going to be with ed. Esos verbos son como de los más usados. Verbos regulares como los más comunes, los más usados, esos son regulares. So, we have clean. What is the meaning of clean?
Yeah.
How would you pronounce this?
Clean.
Clean. So, like a final C, clean. What about lift? What is the meaning of lift? Levantar. How would you
Lift.
pronounce this?
Lift.
Lifted. Why? Because you have a final sound like T. And in this case, you have to pronounce ed. You have to make the entire sound to make possible the understanding and the comprehension of the past. Lifted. What about this one? Follow. What is the meaning of follow?
Seguir.
Seguir. So follow it.
Seguir.
Kick.
Patear.
What about kick? They are talking. So patear. Kicked. In this case, it would find like T at the end. Kicked. What is the meaning of play? This is super easy. Jugar. So played as. What about
Preguntar.
as? Preguntar. So the pronunciation of this one. Asked. Like with final T. Not asked, but I have asked. Like, yeah. It's hard, but don't worry. Finish. What is the meaning of finish? Easy peasy.
Terminar.
The pronunciation. And in the case of the past form is finished. Finished. Okay?
How do you know when it sounds and when it doesn't?
That's because of the phonetics. I can give you a class by explaining when to pronounce ed, when to say t, and when to do it in a different way. But that's something that, in this case, is memory. But I can give you a class of that if you want, of the pronunciation of the sounds. If you want it, we can do it. Okay, what about this one? Visit.
Visitar.
Visitar, easy peasy. So pronunciation, visited, in this case. For example, always, every single time that you have a verb that finishes with, for example, T, like the sound is T, you have to pronounce it, that. Otherwise, it won't be clear. Watch, watch. And finally, listen, listen. This is a list of the most common regular verbs. Vean esos verbos. Uy, no, no es regular, easy peasy. Le pongo a todo, chao, salió. Y los van a confundir. Si se los aprenden, pues, easy peasy. But what happened, guys, with the irregular verbs? Oh, yeah. We have some exceptions when we are adding ed. Hay algunas excepciones para agregar esa ed. So, for example, when you have a final e, you just have to put t. Por ejemplo, en el verbo love. No lo van a poner otra vez para que quede con doble e y d al final. Simplemente ponen la d al final. Love. There is another exception. When you have consonant, vowel, consonant. Consonante, vocal, consonante. ¿Qué hacen? Look at the example. Look at this. Consonant, vowel, consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant. Si tienes las últimas tres consonante, vocal, consonante, vas a duplicar la última consonante. Pones una más que si pones ed. So admit, admitted, traveled, traveled. Can you see? And finally, after a consonant, if you have y, you have to change it. Hay algunas excepciones como play, que es como play, en play simplemente pones ed, es una excepción. Pero usualmente, por ejemplo, en verbos como hurry, hurried, cambias la y por una i latina y pones ed. ¿Ok? ¿Qué excepciones tenemos? Por ejemplo, play. Any other exception? Think about it. Alguno que termine con y solo le ponen id.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. So there are a few exceptions, but in general, you just have to change it. Questions about the exceptions in spelling, guys? Questions about it? No?
No.
Perfect. You're going to... Great. Now that you know how to use irregular verbs, we are going to check some of the most common irregular. Vamos a hablar de los que son más comunes, irregulares. So if you want to take note of that chart of those verbs, that is going to help you a lot because those verbs are super used. Esos verbos son super usados. So let's go with be. What is be?
Ser o estar.
Ser o estar. Tengan mucho cuidado con ese verbo. Ese es el verbo to be. Cuando ustedes tienen ese verbo entre paréntesis, nunca la vayan a embarrar no conjugándome el verbo. Por ejemplo, si están en presente, la conjugación es am, is o are, dependiendo del sujeto. Si están en pasado, ¿cuál es el pasado del verbo to be? Was or were, dependiendo del sujeto. Y en el caso, ¿qué es el verbo? Be, del verbo to be, ser estás. And the past participle form is been. Miren que esta es la única que medio tiene algo similar a la forma base. Todos los demás son diferentes. Entonces, participio del verbo to be, been. I have been playing for 20 hours. I have been. Estado. Or she has been sleeping the entire afternoon. And you see, been. Ese been is like forever. Now, what is the meaning of blow?
Soplar.
Soplar. Past participle, blown. Forget.
Olvidar.
Olvidar. Past participle, forgotten. You have to memorize it. They can take notes. Get, what is the meaning of get?
Conseguir, obtener.
Como conseguir, obtener, ¿ya? Past participle, got. Go, this is super used. Go. Ir. Yes, past participle, gone. What about this one? Keep. Yeah, it's like
Quedarse
to
con
keep
algo.
something, to save something, to stay with something. Past participle, kept. Take notes, esos son super usados. What is the meaning of learn?
Aprender.
Sure.
Aprender. You have two ways. Tell me.
What is the meaning of keep?
Keep, this one. Ok, keep es
Yes.
como conservar algo, quedarte con algo. Okay? Okay, this one, learn. If you can see here, guys, you have two ways of use the past participle. But as you have the possibility to add ed, but it is mostly used the final T, this is an irregular verb. Digamos que con learn se le pone ed, no es que esté mal, pero lo más usado es learned, final T. So if you can use learn, it will be better. Meet, what about meet? What is the meaning of meet? Conocer o
Teacher.
encontrarse con alguien. Tell me.
But the pronunciation of learn in past participle is similar, no?
This is learn and this is learned. Final T. Learn, learned. You have to be careful with the pronunciation at the end, with the last consonant. But yes, it's similar. Okay, in the case of me, how do you pronounce this?
Me.
Met. Aquí no les va a sonar I porque este sonido, este fonema de la doble L suena como una I. Siempre que vean una doble S, I. No, amor, porque digamos que según las reglas del lenguaje, cuando es como el pasado de nosotros, la conjugación de los verbos de ellos, para que ellos sepan que están pasados, si tú no le quitas la E, nunca lo van a saber. No van a acordar la conjugación y a las reglas del lenguaje. It is not, I don't know. The person who invented English decided that it was English. So yeah, met. And finally, the last one, let me move my mouse just to show you. Okay, the last one is sent, like enviar, and with past participle sent. Look at this. Sometimes we just have to change the final consonant. Sometimes just a letter change. Sometimes the entire words change. So just memorize. Questions about irregular verbs? So, let's review the uses. So use number one. This is the one that you told me to talk about experiences. Experiences of your life, experiences of someone else's life, but experiences, okay? So, you can use the present perfect to describe your experience or to say that you have never had certain experience. Digamos que en este caso no les cuando hablan de experiencias, es para hablar de lo que han vivido, de lo que han experimentado, pero también para decir que no han experimentado algo. So, en general, es experiencias. Okay? So, let's take a look at the example. I have been to France, I have been to France 3 times, or I have never been to France. Si lo hice 3 veces, puedo hacerlo más, o no, nunca lo he hecho, pobrecito yo. Can you see? Experiences. Questions about the use of present perfect for experiences? No questions? 30 seconds to take notes, and then we are going to continue. Okay, go ahead, take notes. Everyone, please take notes, even if you are at home.
Teacher,
Tell me, baby.
we use not in this topic.
You can use not, but in this case, as you are talking about experiences, you are going to use, for example, never. Or you can say, I haven't, or I have not been to France. Puedes usar never, puedes usar el negativo. So you can say, for example, I have never been, or I have not been. No he estado, o nunca he estado. But yes, of course, you have negative terms, like have not, by taking into account the things that you're going to say. Okay, ladies, we are going to continue. Use number 2. Change over time. Look at this one. Juanjo, can you please help me reading that slide? Can you please help me reading that slide?
Okay. When often use the present perfect to talk about change that has happened over a period of time.
Thank you. So, babies, when you are going to talk about changes in the time, for example, when you are talking about the, no, you are talking about pre-storage, and you're talking about the changes that we have experienced till this time, you are going to use present perfect to talk about those changes over the time. Let's take a look at the example. You have grown since the last time I saw you. This is a change. Es un cambio físico y demás. Estás hablando de cambios a través del tiempo. Or, for example, my English has really improved since I moved to Australia. So, changes over the time. Durante el tiempo que has estado en algún lugar, algo ha pasado y you're going to use this verbal tense like present perfect to talk about those changes. Questions about this second use?
No.
Changes over the time. So, 20 seconds to take notes, and then we are going to continue.
Sure.
Tell me, baby.
This saw isn't in present perfect.
Yeah,
Sorry,
this is,
in participle.
yes, baby, everything is in participle. Look at this. For example, grown and improved. Both are in participle because we are talking about present perfect. So go ahead, take notes, please, and then we are going to continue. Okay, ready? Okay. Use number 3. Accomplishments. What is an accomplishment?
Logros.
Did you listen to this?
No sé.
Okay, 1 second, guys, because my guy is still taking notes. So 1 second.
Profe, logros son achievements.
Achievements. So no, 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 no. Okay, let's talk about accomplishments. But I mean, achievements is like to talk about goals, but for example, in the academic thing, at school, at university, accomplishments. Accomplishments has two meanings, tienes dos definiciones. Una puede ser para hablar de logros, pero para hablar de logros como generales de la humanidad, pues. O cuando tú hablas de accomplishment, es cuando tú te arrepientes de algo también. Puedes hablar de accomplishments como la embarré, te sientes muy bien. So that's an accomplishment. So, look at this. Camilo, can you please help me reading this slide?
Okay. We often use the present perfect to list the accomplishment of you individuals and humanity. You cannot mention a specific time.
Thank you. So guys, look at this. In this case, it is not used to talk about it like individually, but usually is used with general aspects, general things. Things that you have reached, like not because you did it, but because somebody in the human did it. And for that reason, you as human has, you can say this. So, man has walked on the moon. That is a fact, that is something that happened, es como un logro. No sabemos, puede que vuelva a caminar otra vez sobre la luna, puede que no. Pero es un logro muy grande. El hombre ha caminado sobre la luna. Digamos que aquí se usa el presente perfecto para darle esa fuerza, como esa parte ceremonial de que lo hizo y wow, maravilloso. ¿Ok? Como en la forma de honor, por eso lo hace. Man has walked on the moon. Or for example, this one. Scientists have split the atom. What is the meaning of has split the atom? What am I saying?
Han separado.
So scientists have split the atom. Very good. Questions about the use of present perfect to accomplishments or achievements? The same thing.
Teacher, what is the meaning of split?
Dividir. Split, dividir. Okay, tell me, Maggie.
Profe, porque el inglés tiene como formas de hablar del tema así tan específicas.
¿Cómo tan ceremoniales?
Sí, tan, digamos, en este tema solo se habla de tal cosa, ¿me entiendes? O sea,
Para usos.
tan,
Es lo mismo que en el español. Por ejemplo, en el español, cuando uno estudia español, tú te das cuenta que no todo el tiempo usas la misma forma de hablar para todas las situaciones. Entonces hay formas en las que son más ceremoniales, hay formas, digamos, en el español dices, ella se acostó a dormir. Eso es el pasado simple en español. Para decir, ella se acostó a dormir, no tienes ninguna otra forma de decirlo. ¿Sí ves? Es exactamente lo mismo que pasa en inglés. Tienes formas muy específicas de usos. ¿Para qué puedes usar ese tiempo verbal? Para hablar de esto, para hablar de esto, para hablar de esto. Pero por ejemplo acá, si tú dices como lo mismo en español, nosotros hemos estado jugando. Ese es el presente perfecto del español. ¿Tienes alguna otra forma de decir que hemos estado jugando? No, porque si dices hemos jugado, ya te estás yendo a otra parte, a otro tiempo verbal. Digamos que cuando uno lo explica, uno lo divide por categorías para que a ustedes les quede más fácil reconocer en qué momento usarlo y así pueden empezar a usarlo en la vida diaria en un contexto un poquito más real de una forma correcta. Pero todos los idiomas de amor son así, siempre tienes una forma específica para decir las cosas. Okay. So, my dears, up to this point, which are the three uses that we have said about present perfect? What is one? The first one.
experiences,
Experiences. The second one.
change over time,
Change over time and?
Change over time.
And the third one?
accomplishments.
Or achievements. Accomplishments or achievements. Let's continue. Look at this one. You can also use it to talk about an uncompleted action you are expecting. Actions that are not complete. So we are going to check it. Carlos, can you please help me reading that slide? Yeah.
We often use the present perfect to say that an action which with aspects has not happened. Using the present perfect suggests that we are still waiting for the action to happen.
Thank you. So ladies, in easier words, this is telling you that you use present perfect to talk about things that you want to happen, but those things haven't happened yet. Cosas que quieres que pasen, cosas que estás esperando que sucedan, pero pues no han pasado. Y aquí es donde aparece, por ejemplo, nuestro hermoso y maravilloso Jeff, nuestro aún. So let's take a look to the example. James has not finished his homework yet. Maybe you have been waiting for a long time because, I don't know, you are going to play something, you have a date, I don't know, but he is still doing the homework. So, James has not finished his homework yet. James hasn't finished his homework yet. Or look at this one. The rain hasn't stopped. Digamos, esta no tiene el ya, pero igual están aquí en perfecto, porque no se ha detenido. Es un hecho que va a pasar, va a dejar de llover. ¿Cuándo? Puede ser en un ratito, puede ser en 3 días, pero en algún momento se va a detener. Si ves entonces, es algo que empezó en el pasado, que tiene unas consecuencias ahorita, que es algo que tú quieres que termine, pero no ha terminado aún. That's uncompleted action that you are expecting. The rain hasn't stopped. I haven't graduated from school yet. Can you see? I haven't done that yet. No lo has hecho, pero todos se quieren graduar del colegio. No ha pasado, pero todos van a llegar a lejos. Can you see? So, actions that you want but that haven't finished yet. Questions up to this point? The ones who are at home, questions up to this point? I guess no. So you are saying no.
Teacher,
Tell me, baby.
we usually use yet with a negative sentence.
We usually use what, baby? Get?
Yes.
No, not all the time. I mean, it is not, puedes usar get con afirmativos.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue. No? Okay, don't forget to take notes, guys. Okay. The next one, guys, multiple actions at different times. You have a lot of uses, pero se los estoy poniendo tan específicos para que no se enreden cuando tengan el presente, el pasado simple. Se van a dar cuenta, si ustedes tienen estas claves, no va a ser como papel, super easy. So, multiple actions at different times, like parallel actions, como acciones que están paralelas. So, let's read this one. Marco, can you please help me reading the first part of this slide?
Topic 5, multiple actions at different times. We also use the present perfect to talk about several different actions which have occurred in the past at different times.
Thank you, baby. Let's imagine this. Let's imagine that you are telling a story that you are talking about, I don't know, a lot of events that happen. Piensen que el pasado, el presente perfecto es el pasado del pasado. El presente perfecto es el pasado del pasado simple. Entonces, ponle cuidado. The army has attacked that city 5 times. El pasado. She has talked to several specialists about her problem, but nobody knows why she is sick. Lo ha hecho muchas veces en el pasado. ¿Qué pasa si, por ejemplo, yo digo esto? When I arrived home, someone has broken the window. ¿Qué pasó primero? ¿Que llegué a la casa o que rompieron la ventana? Que rompieron. When I arrived home, someone has broken the window. ¿Qué pasó primero? ¿Que tú llegaste o que alguien te rompió la ventana? No, porque yo te digo, cuando yo llegué, alguien había roto la ventana. La acción, si se dan cuenta, son dos acciones en pasado. Pero hay una acción que sucedió primero. Esa acción que sucedió primero en el pasado va a ir en presente perfecto. Por eso les digo, el presente perfecto es el pasado del pasado simple. Antes del pasado simple está el presente perfecto. Si tú dices, por ejemplo, let me think about another one. When I arrive, another arrive. When I arrive to the mall, the movie has already started. ¿Qué pasa primero? ¿Que llegaste al centro comercial o que la película había comenzado? Que la película, cuando yo llegué al centro comercial, when I arrived to the cinema, dándolo más fácil, cuando llegué al cine, la película había comenzado. Lo primero, ambas están en pasado. ¿Llegaste? Ya, llegaste, fue en pasado. La película pasó, sí, fue en pasado, pero una acción sucedió antes que la otra. Que la película había comenzado. Entonces, eso es el pasado del pasado. ¿Se dan cuenta? El pasado del pasado. Ya había sucedido esto cuando yo vi esto. O when I don't know, when I watched the movie, my mother has seen the movie 3 times before. I don't know, algo así. Como cuando yo vi la película, ella ya la había visto varias veces. El pasado del pasado. So, multiple actions at different times. Si quieres decir, resulta que yo me había subido al bus cuando de repente llegó un ladrón y nos robó a todos. Te subiste primero al bus, presente perfecto, llegó un ladrón y los robó, pasado simple, los robó, se acabó. La acción que sucede primero en pasado es en presente perfecto. Questions up to this point, guys? No? Okay. Now let's talk about past simple. But before doing this, I want you to stand up, todos stand up, and move yourself a bit because you can sit there like, stand up, move your body. So everybody, stretch yourself, move your arms, move your legs, stretch your body, please. You have been there for a lot of time, so move it. Okay? Go ahead. You can do it. Ready? Are you feeling better now? Not yet? Okay. Ready? So move. Maybe no. I love your movement. Okay, yes. Let's continue. So, breathe, sit down, and let's continue. Okay, questions of present perfect. Preguntas del presente perfecto. ¿Es tan difícil?
No entendí bien.
¿Esto?
No lo entendí bien.
Listo. Cuando tú tienes diferentes acciones en el pasado, todas las acciones, digamos que tienes 4 acciones. Solo la cuarta acción va a estar en pasado simple. Porque antes de esa acción tuviste otras 3. Entonces, yo me subí al bus, digamos, yo me había subido al bus y había llovido un montón ese día, así que yo me había mojado, yo estaba teniendo un mal día, un ladrón llegó y nos robó, eso fue el día. Todo lo que estás relatando en pasado, antes del hecho de que te robaron, si te das cuenta, son acciones que sucedieron antes de un hecho específico. Todo eso que pasa antes es en presente perfecto. Digamos que cuando tú vas a relatar varias cosas en el pasado, las vas a ir diciendo en presente perfecto hasta que llegas a la última acción, o sea, la acción más reciente. La acción más reciente es la que va a estar en simple. Todo lo que te sucedió antes de eso es perfecto. Por eso les digo, es el pasado del pasado. ¿Listo? Esta casi no se une, no se falta, pero necesitan saberlo, porque qué tal esto que están, we never know. Any other question, guys? So, now that you don't have questions, we are going to talk about past simple. What do you remember of past simple? What is that? You know it. That's it. Actions that happen in the past. Actions that happen that begin and finish in the past. Just one thing, you have a specific times. What else do you remember of past simple? Okay, you have your answers. What else?
They must use verbs in past.
Okay, you have to use the verbs in past, like the second column, acuérdense nuevamente. Verbos regulares o irregulares, tienen que aprenderse los irregulares.
Did.
Okay, you have an important auxiliary verb, that is did. Tienen el verbo did, perdón, el verbo y así. Como el auxiliar que es did, lo utilizas para preguntas, lo utilizas para hablar de negativo. Very good. Something else? So, not this perfect. Let's talk about the actions of past simple. But before talking about the actions, let's talk about the form. ¿Cómo es la forma? Easy peasy, in affirmative. Subject, verb in past, complement. That's it. I went to the school. Yo fui al colegio. Se acabó. No es una acción que tuvo relevancia, solo fui, ya, se acabó en el pasado. Es una acción que paró y listo. I went to the school. I visited my grandma. Visité a mi abuela, se acabó. I woke up at 7 a.m. this morning. Me desperté a las 7 de la mañana, se acabó, ya se acabó esa acción. Está en el pasado. So, use number 1 is to talk about completed actions in the past. Okay? So, Samu, can you please help me reading that slide?
Okay. It's the simple past to express the idea that an action started and finished at a specific time in the past.
So look at this. It started and finished at a specific time in the past. So this is the first difference with present perfect. Ahí está su primera diferencia. Si ustedes ven algo que tiene un tiempo específico, utilizan pasado simple. Porque el presente perfecto no tiene tiempos específicos. Diferencia número 1. Use number 1.
About the second example, what does it mean when we say I didn't see a play?
Oh, it is just a misspelling. I'm sorry. Let me say. Sí, aquí. I didn't see or I didn't play a yesterday. Es que aquí iba a poner I didn't see a movie. Es en el video borrado. I'm sorry. It's my bad. But look at this. I saw a movie yesterday. Y aquí te quería poner en negativo, pero... So I didn't play yesterday. Omitan este sí, please. I'm sorry. So, I saw a movie yesterday. I didn't play yesterday. Last year I traveled to Japan. Last year I didn't travel to Korea. Entonces, let's take a look to this one, for example. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Yeah. Look at this. You have these two. Last year, I traveled to Japan. As you can see, I am using the verb in the past form because I am talking in affirmative. Lo estoy diciendo en afirmativo. Yo no, el año pasado viajé a Japón. Listo, se acabó, ya viajaste. But when I want to say that I didn't do something, I have to use my auxiliary verb. I did not or I didn't. Y cuando pongo el verbo auxiliar, ¿qué pasa con mi verbo? Se deja infinitive. And that's it. No lo tienes que conjugar. Si ustedes se llegan a poner el pasado, pilas con eso. I didn't travel. Si me lo ponen con él, les queda mal. Porque este auxiliar de acá ya te está indicando que está pasado. No le tienes que hacer nada más. Si ustedes tienen auxiliar, dejen que el auxiliar haga su trabajo y pongan todo lo demás normal. ¿Listo? Solo necesitan poner el pasado si están afirmativos. Para todo lo demás, existe el auxiliar. Questions? Okay. Oh, are you taking notes? Oh, I'm sorry. Will you please stop? This is not going to be very much. So, I didn't play yesterday. Oh my God. So, para los que están en la casa, me equivoqué en el segundo ejemplo. Just don't do it. I didn't play yesterday. That's it. Not a movie, something like that. So, use number 1, completed actions in the past. Actions that started and finished in the past. And usually, not all the time, but usually you have a specific time. No siempre lo vas a tener, no siempre vas a decir, I went to the school yesterday. No siempre te vas a decir, yesterday, pero usualmente no tienes. Okay, let's continue. Use number 2. a series of completed actions. So, let's read this part. Let me check. Okay, can you please help me reading that part?
¿Me llamaste, profe?
Yes, maybe. Can you please help me reading this first part of the slide?
Okay, we use the simple past to list a series of complement actions in the past. These actions happen, how can I say that?
First,
First, second, third, and fourth, and so
so,
now.
so on. Okay, guys.
Right
So,
now.
when you have like a list of things that happened in the past, completed actions, finished actions, you are going to use past simple. So let's take a look to the examples. First of all, I finished work, walked to the beach, and found a nice place to swim. Si se dan cuenta, es algo, estoy relatando algo que sucedió, acciones que pasaron. Terminé de trabajar, me fui para la playa y encontré un bonito lugar para nadar. Esto no tiene un tiempo específico, pero son acciones completas y terminadas en el pasado. Me está relatando algo que hizo. Acciones, una serie de acciones que se hicieron para llegar a un punto, a determinado punto. Okay? Let's check the next example. He arrived from the airport at 8, checked into the hotel at 9, and met the others at 10. Si se dan cuenta que tengo tiempos específicos acá, tengo horas. Al tener horas de una, pasado simple, una cantidad de acciones que hice, empezaron en el pasado, terminaron en el pasado y ya. Or for example, this one. Did you add flour, pour in the meal, and then add eggs? A cereal, like a receipt. Hiciste esto, esto y esto. Listo, se acabó. Nothing else. So when you have series of actions that finish in the past, a series of actions that are complete, acciones que ya son completas. ¿Por qué no puedo usar acá presente perfecto, chicos? Porque recuerden que el presente perfecto usualmente me deja todo abierto. Me deja la posibilidad de que esto vuelva a suceder de la misma forma en el futuro. Aquí no. Si tú me estás diciendo que llegó del aeropuerto hasta ahora, se chequeó hasta ahora y se encontró con nosotros a esa hora, ¿qué tan alta es la probabilidad de que le vuelva a pasar eso de la misma forma? It's super, I mean, it may happen, I don't know, maybe. But it's not realistic, okay? So completed actions in the past. Questions of this second use? Okay. Recuerden, ¿cómo lo diferencian? Acá son acciones completas, en el presente perfecto es algo que, digamos que no está completo. Si se dan cuenta, ahí dice, acciones que no están completas, ese es uno de los. El opuesto, lo que se está completando. Let's continue. Use number 3, duration in past, duración en el pasado. So, let's read this slide. So, who can help me? Let's check someone here. Julian, can you please help me reading that slide? The first part?
Okay. I teacher.
Attack, baby. The first part.
Okay. Use three. Duration or in past. The simple past can be used with a duration, which starts and stops in the past. A duration is a longer action often indicated by expressions such as for 2 years, for 5 minutes, all day, all year, and so on.
Thank you. So, look at these guys. This is amazing because you are going to have expressions that are going to help you with, okay? So, you can have, for example, for, you can have all day, you can have permanent situation, something like that. So, let's take a look. When you have duration in past, but that thing that you were waiting for has finished. Como que o sea, como lo esperamos durante una hora. Sí, estuvieron una hora haciendo eso, pero ya se acabó la hora, ya se acabó la acción. Siempre pasado simple van a ser acciones que ya están completamente finalizadas. ¿Ok? So let's take a look to the examples. I lived in Brazil for 2 years. Yo viví en Brasil por 2 años. Tuviste una duración en el tiempo, tuviste una duración de 2 años, pero ya se acabaron los 2 años. Y ya, se acabó. Duration in
volver a
time.
pasar, ¿no? O sea, que volver a mirar más.
Sí, digamos que en este caso, cuando tú tienes tiempos específicos como de duración, puedes usar ambos tiempos verbales, porque tú puedes decir, I lived in Brazil for 2 years, viví allá, para indicar que ya es una acción que se acabó, porque de pronto no tienes la seguridad de que va a volver a pasar algo así, se acabó. Pero también puedes decir, I have lived in Brazil for 2 years. Y si tú lo dices así, I have lived in Brazil, significa que en este momento estás viviendo en Brasil, que llevas 2 años viviendo allá y que no sabes cuánto tiempo más va a durar. Es la diferencia. Si lo utilizas con el pasado simple, ya se acabó, ya, chao, bye bye. Si lo utilizas con el presente perfecto, estás en medio de esa situación. La estás viviendo. I have lived here for 2 years. Empezaste en el pasado, lo estás viviendo ahorita, no sabes cuánto tiempo más va a pasar. But it may happen. Very good. The next one. They did not stay at the party the entire time. They didn't stay at the party the entire time. Ya se acabó la fiesta, estuvieron allá un rato, pero ya se acabó. Chao. And finally, how long did you wait for them? We waited for 1 hour. Estuvieron haciendo algo en el pasado, duraron cierto tiempo, ya se acabó la acción. Fin. So, questions about this use? Use number 3? Are you sure? Did you take notes? Okay, ready? No. Just let me know.
Please, I have a weird question.
Tell me.
How do you use your glasses so they don't get like, no se te empañan con la voz?
Ah, porque hay un truquito, mira. Tú coges y las limpias con el líquido normal de las gafas y le pasas el líquido. Y luego coges una gota de jabón líquido y se la pones en los lentes, así, por arriba y por abajo. Y le vuelves a pasar el pañito. Cuando le echas agua y nada más, le vuelves a pasar el pañito. Y eso es un antiempañante buenísimo. O sea, no se te van a empañar. Pero no es necesario echar agua ni nada. Te toca limpiarlo primero con el líquido, luego el jabón, se lo pasas bien, pero poquito. No le eches muy colorado. Poquito. Los cuartos y listo, los limpias y te las pones. El único momento en el que no te funciona es por las mañanas, que está haciendo mucho frío, por ejemplo, está lloviendo o algo así, se te van a empañar porque ahí se empaña todo. Para ahora está.
Gracias.
Okay. Okay, guys, ready? Let's continue. Yes. Wait, yes, sorry. Just. Okay. Here's number 4. This is amazing because this is similar to the present simple. Esto es similar al presente simple. Hábitos y rutinas en el pasado. Hábitos que tú tenías. So, it's amazing. Habits in the past. Hábitos en el pasado. So, let's read this slide. Vale, can you please help me reading that one?
Okay. Can also be used to describe a habit which stopped in the past. It can have the same. Can you make it bigger?
Yeah.
It can have the same
Give me a second while I make it like
as used to. To make it clear that we are talking about a habit, we often use expressions such as always, often, usually, never, when I was a child, and so on.
Thank you. So, my dears, habits in the past. Something, but do you remember that? I explained this when we talk about past simple. When you used to do something, but you don't do it anymore. Okay? You have this, always, often, usually, never. Eso se llama frequency adverbs, acuérdense. Adverbios de frecuencia. 44, que tan frecuentemente así es necesario. So, when you have habits that you don't have anymore, let's take a look. I studied French when I was a child. Yo solía estudiar francés, pero ya no estudio nada. So, that's it. Or this one, he didn't play the piano. Maybe this is something that he didn't do before, but now he is an excellent musician. The next one, did you play a musical instrument when you were a kid? Te puedes preguntar, ¿hacías esto cuando eras niño? ¿Tenías esta rutina? Y eso no. Sin embargo, siguen siendo acciones terminadas. O sea, no se vayan a confundir con la cantidad de usos que hay, solo para hacerlo más sencillo, que lo identifiquen más fácil. Pero siempre son acciones que se acabaron y ya. El uno son acciones acabadas y el otro son acciones que están en el pasado pero pueden continuar. ¿Listo? Easy peasy. And finally, they never went to school. They always skipped class. Nunca estaban en el colegio, estaban escapando clase todo el tiempo. Past habit. But now they are at university and they can do it anymore. So no more habits like this one. Questions about these useful habits in the past?
Yo no entendí.
¿Déjalo en lista?
No.
Da igual. Cuando tú solías hacer algo y ya no lo haces más. Entonces, por ejemplo, piensa en algo que tú hacías cuando eras pequeño y que ya no haces más. Dime una cosa que tú hacías cuando eras pequeño y que ya no volviste a hacer y no lo haces más. Gatear, ¿qué más? Como de costumbres tuyas, algo que te gustara hacer y que ya no.
No sé, no me
Por ejemplo, ¿solías comer algo que ya no comes?
Composto.
No, composta, cualquiera come composta, súper rico.
No.
Imaginémonos. Digamos que tú, cuando eras más pequeño o en el pasado, tenías el hábito de dormirte a las 3 de la tarde, todos los días. Ese era tu hábito, un ejemplo. Pero ya no puedes, porque es que a las 3 de la tarde es gravísimo. ¿Cómo te vas a dormir a esa hora? O a las, no sé, a la 1 de la tarde, todavía no estás en el colegio, lo podrías hacerlo. Entonces es un hábito que ya dejaste de hacer. Vas a usar el pasado siempre para decir eso, porque es una acción que se acabó en el pasado. Fue un hábito que tuviste, pero que ya no tienes más. ¿Se acuerdan que también hablamos de un used to? Ahí lo pueden usar. I used to drink a lot of water. No, I don't. Y lo que va pasado es el used. Yo solía. O puedes decir, I usually sleep for 20 hours per day. Yo usualmente dormía 20 horas al día. Ya no tienes ese hábito, ya no puedes tener. Ya. So can you see habits that you have but you don't have anymore? Perfect. So that's it. No, he was just asking because of the system. Oh my God. So guys, habits in the past that you don't have anymore. I went to La Misericordia School when I was a child. Are you at La Misericordia School now? No. Are you coming back? Of course no, because it is not possible. You just left there. Hábitos en el pasado. Questions about use number 4? Almost finished, I promise. Almost finished. And use number 5. 5 uses per each one. Easy peasy. Oh my God, don't look at me like in that way. This is just to make it easier. Past, facts, or generalization. Cuando nosotros, por ejemplo, hablamos del presente simple, hablamos de facts. Cosas que son hechos. So, we live in the Earth planet. Eso es presente simple. Vivimos en el planeta Tierra. En el pasado tenemos algo similar para hablar de eventos así como hechos, pero del pasado. Easy peasy. So, can be also used to describe past facts or generalizations which are not longer true. So, she was shy as a child, but now she is very outgoing. Esto era verdad, cuando era niña ella era así. Y digamos que este ejemplo les entra dentro de la categoría de hábitos o dentro de la categoría de generalización. It's okay. He didn't like tomatoes before. No le gustaba, ahora le gusta. So, es similar, es parecida al anterior. Did you live in Texas when you were a kid? Hecho. El hecho de vivir en Texas, ¿lo hacías cuando eras un niño? Maybe yes, maybe no. Or, people paid much more to make cell phone calls in the past. Look at this one. I want you to look at this one. Esta es una de las más, oh my gosh. This is one of the more used. Es una de las más usadas. Las personas pagaban mucho dinero en el pasado para hacer llamadas. ¿Es verdad o no es verdad? It is true, it was super expensive. And I don't know, a lot of people didn't even have a cell phone and you had to go to a place, to a specific place to make calls. but those places were super weird, so it was extremely expensive to make a phone call and to make a cell phone call. It was like crazy. It was insane. Tell me.
What is she? We,
Where?
she was, she as a child.
She was shy. ¿Qué pasó con eso?
Tímida,
The second,
Shy? Shy is tímido. She was shy. Ella era tímida. She was shy as a child. I know this is like a confusion, but now she is very outgoing. Tell me, baby.
el anterior tema, el de habits in the past, él solamente se habla en primera persona,
No,
¿no?
no, puedes hablar de otro.
O sea, es como igual a este, ¿no?
Es muy similar, sí. Generalizaciones, pero entonces, no, les se los pongo porque no quiero que se confundan. Que tal vez salgan en uno de estos exámenes que tienen que hacer, que les digan, denme un ejemplo de pasado simple como generalización. Te hacen tanto porque no sabes que es muy similar a hábitos. Simplemente decir algo que hacía así ya no. O algo que solía ser verdad y ya no es verdad. Digamos que este se usa más para eso. People pay much more to make cell phone calls in the past. Fue algo que estuvo vigente durante mucho tiempo.
O puede ser también como más para hechos históricos del pasado, ¿no?
También lo puedes decir así, hechos históricos del pasado. Por ejemplo, si tú vas a hablar, I don't know, let's talk about Nazis. Nazis hated everyone. Let's say that. Ya no es así. Tal vez uno que otro, pero ya no es algo general. So can you see? This is how to talk about. Questions up to this point? And finally, let's finish, don't worry. Differences. I just told you some of the differences, but let's finish. It's your decision, it's your matter. I mean, I already know this, but it's your decision. Don't forget, and don't forget that the class is going to be in the YouTube channel. Don't worry. I'm not going to ask you for, this is important, I'm not going to ask you for telling the difference. No. I am going to make you use it. That's the key. Okay, differences. The first one, let's read this one. Let's read these two. So let's talk to someone here. Let me check. Maybe, why is this so quiet? Let me check who can read it. Santiago, can you please help me reading this part, these slides, like passing on, oh my God. Those who are in dark green. So Santi, past simple and past perfect in dark green. La primera parte. Go ahead, Santi, please help me reading.
A action that was developed and ends in the past without any information about what has been its impact in the present time.
Okay, that's past simple. And what about past perfect?
Action that began in the past and still continues to develop.
Thank you. So guys, difference, huge difference, number one. You use past simple to talk about actions that happened in the past. You don't have like any information about the impact or the continuity that an action may have today. Okay? And in past perfect, present perfect. Like it's present perfect, made a mistake, sorry. Action that began in the past and still continues to develop. Present perfect, lo que empezó en el pasado y se sigue desarrollando. Yes, I'm sorry, a mistake. When I was young, I played tennis. I have worked in this bank for 10 years. ¿Ven la diferencia? El pasado simple, cuando era joven jugaba tenis, un hábito pasado que no lo tienes más, se acabó. No sabes si esto sigue repercutiendo, ni idea. Pero, I have worked in this bank for 10 years, implica que has estado ahí desde hace 10 años y que posiblemente vas a continuar y es algo que está impactando tu presente. So, differences. This is present perfect. Past simple, present perfect. So, 30 seconds to take notes.
Teacher,
Tell me.
what is the meaning of
Still.
What is the meaning of still? This one, still continues. Ah, como un aún, y aún continúa desarrollándose, still, aún. Pero no es como el aún de yet, que es para decir no acabé aún, sino es para indicar que es algo que sigue sucediendo, como todavía sucede. Still. Okay, did you take notes? No yet? So, let me know, don't forget, I can wait. No, you're not.
Teacher,
Tell me.
¿cuál es la diferencia en el pasado perfecto?
En el pasado simple tú vas a hablar de acciones que están en el pasado, que ya terminaron, y tú no tienes ni idea, ninguna información sobre si esa acción tiene repercusión o influye de alguna forma en tu tiempo presente o en tu futuro. O se va a volver a repetir la idea. Pero en el presente perfecto, tú tienes una acción que está teniendo, que arrancó en el pasado, pero que está teniendo como una repercusión en tu presente y tal vez en tu futuro. Como el hecho del banco, mira. Yo he trabajado en este banco por 10 años. Tú empezaste a trabajar en el pasado y el momento en el que empezaste se acabó. Pero todavía lo sigues haciendo y no sabes si mañana lo vas a seguir haciendo también. En cambio, si tú dices, when I was young, I played tennis. Eso es un hábito, no tienes idea si sigues jugando, no tienes idea si te afectó en el desempleo o no. Ok, so es una acción suelta ya, se acabó, sí, right? That's the difference. Let's continue, guys. Recuerden que es presente perfecto, solo que aquí la tabla. I made a mistake, sorry. Super cool. So, my dears, the next difference, Megan, I don't you want to read so bad, like teacher, please help me, I want to read. And then we can do it. Go. Go. So, first simple, action that.
Action that has stable
Developed.
and be completed in a period of time already finished.
And present perfect.
Action that has just finished.
Okay. So in past simple, guys, you are going to talk about actions that finish at a time. You have a time that has already finished. Un tiempo que ya se acabó. So this morning I had a very tense meeting with my boss. Si se dan cuenta, tienen acá un tiempo verbal, un tiempo específico. This morning, esta mañana. When you have the specific time like that, and you know that this morning is over, that is passive. Se les acabó. But what happens when you have present perfect? When you have present perfect, guys, you just have to say, it's an action, don't forget that you can use it to talk about an action that has just finished. Es como un pasado, pero que acabó de pasar. ¿Se acuerdan que hablábamos de eso? Momentos, cosas recientes, acciones recientes. So, I have missed my train, I have just missed my train. I have missed my train. Llegaste, corriste, el transmilenio. Llegaste, corriste, te esforzaste, metiste la mano, pero igual arrancó. So, can you see? Yeah. But it's algo que acaba de pasar. I have just eaten. I have finished the explanation. I'm sorry, como acabo de terminar, acabo de pasar. La diferencia es que en el pasado simple tienes un tiempo específico en el que se acabó, en el presente perfecto, pues no, y es algo, y cuando hablas de pasado es como acabo de hacer, acabo de comer, acabo de hacer. Es como tan reciente que ni siquiera puedes decir que es un pasado pasado. Okay? Yeah, like I just finished my homework like 2 seconds ago. Something like that. Can you see? Okay, let's continue. Almost finished, almost finished. Vamos a acabar, ya vamos a acabar. So, miren esto. Si ustedes se dan cuenta, if you realize this, in past simple, we don't have some uses that we have in present perfect. Hay algunos usos que no tenemos en pasado simple y solo vamos a usar el presente perfecto, presente perfecto. For example, action that has been out over a period of time. No se ha acabado, so ya no tienen los usos. This morning I have had very tense meeting with my boss. ¿Qué pasa si esta mañana todavía no se ha acabado? ¿Qué pasa si estás ahí y todavía estás en la tensión con tu jefe?
¿Qué está pasando?
¿Se dan cuenta? I have had. Ya no vas a decir, this morning I had, sino esta mañana he tenido esta discusión y posiblemente tu jefe está curioso contigo, te está viendo y eso va a tener una consecuencia feísima para tu presente y para tu futuro. No hay idea. Or we can say,
Profe, no alcancé a copiar lo anterior.
oh, sorry.
Pero es devolverlo. Creo que no era una anterior.
No.
Mira, terminé así.
Okay, let me organize, that's it. So 30 seconds to take notes. Don't forget that it is present perfect, not past, present perfect. Pero esas divisiones ya como esa percepción del centro de poder.
Ese es mi hijita. Ya sí, no me pueden juzgar.
Look at this, guys. Okay, did you copy? Let me Okay, ready guys? Did you take notes? Okay. I have missed my turn. One second. Missed my train. Missed my train. Missed my train. This one?
Sí.
Okay, go. Okay, let me know as soon as you finish reading. Brilliant. Oh my God. So, let's continue, okay? Ready, Anthony?
Ya.
Great. And this one, finally, guys. In present perfect, you can also talk about actions that have happened in the past, but with consequences in the present. Si tienes alguna acción que ya se acabó, listo, es una acción pasada, pero tú sabes que va a tener una consecuencia en el presente, sin importar lo que hagas, that's present perfect. My brother has broken his glasses. Se le rompieron. Pero es que resulta que el que no va a ver durante mucho tiempo es el pobre hombre que rompió las gafas. So my brother has broken his glasses. Okay? When you have an action that's finished in past, but you know that you will have a consequence, that's present perfect. ¿Cómo que por qué ponemos? Because this is the auxiliary verb, has broken. Has broken. Mi hermano ha roto sus gafas. My poor brother can't see anymore. Okay? And that's it. Questions up to this point, guys? No questions? Are you sure the next week we have quiz? So please, in 2 weeks you have your final test. So please. Recuerden que ya estamos por hacer el corte de notas. La otra semana tenemos una reunión en la que les doy el informe de cómo van, qué tienen, qué no tienen.
¿En serio? Vamos a empezar.
Ya, la próxima Next week is review, la próxima semana es review, reporte del cierre del corte de notas, y en 2 semanas ya. Pero en inglés ustedes saben que se han hecho otras cosas, solo que yo no les doy las notas así de una a una, porque yo sumo las que tienen y las subo en plataforma computadas. Entonces hicimos 3 listenings, yo no subo los 3 listenings, sino una nota de listening. Por eso les hago un compilado de notas y les hago corte y les hago una reunión, uno por uno, ya volver. Así bonito. Espero que no. Okay, guys. So, questions up to this point? No more? Okay. That's it. So, no. Let's avoid the video. no videos, don't worry. Okay, questions up to this point? Okay, so we are going to stop for the ones, silence. For the ones who are at home, questions? Let me check the chat because I have not checked any questions. Okay, guys, questions? Something to say? No? Or sure?
Que los bloques a veces cansan mucho.
No, don't worry, I know. Okay, guys. So we are going to have a break. I am going to stop the recording of the class. Okay, guys. We are